What is up, party people? My name is Darrel, and today I'm going to be showing you all how to use the Divi theme contact form. Now, the Divi theme contact form has a lot of options, and it is very powerful, and you can also add different options based off a person's answer. So let's say, for instance, this is my contact form, and you have a client that comes to your website and fills this out. So maybe they want a new website, right? They say, hey, I want a new website. What can we do here? Here, I'll go ahead and fill this out saying, hey, I need a new e-commerce website. And right here we have different options. So we have 4 options. Now, I've programmed my contact form to have different answers based off what the user puts in here. So for instance, right here, if they just put e-commerce websites, there's no other options, right? Same thing with enterprise, there's no options. However, if I select a personal website, we now have this price icon right here. And right here, I'll say, okay, you know, my budget is probably around $2,000 to $3,000. And they're gonna ask me how many websites. Now, this is just for tutorial purposes. I'm just trying to teach you how to use the contact form. Usually you would never ask that question, right? That would kind of be redundant, or that would kind of be pointless. But let's say, for instance, I'm saying I want 1 website. Actually, I changed my mind. I want 2 websites. Now, when I have 2 websites open, we have this other form right here. And it says, well, why do you need more than 1 website? I'm gonna say, well, you know, I run an SEO agency. You know, I run an SEO agency. And now also right here, we added another box that says, okay, you run an SEO agency, tell us more about your business. Maybe here you can talk about, I get 1 million visitors a month, or a month or something, and or you know, I don't know, whatever you want to put in there, you know. So that's just an example of what you can do and what you're going to learn today in this tutorial. Next, we'll talk about other options. So for instance, right here, saying, okay, I don't want a personal website, I want a business website. So right here, I'll click on business websites. And now here we have this drop-down icon right here saying, okay, what kind of business do you run? And here we can put an online website or a brick and mortar, which is like a retail store. So I'll say, you know what, I run an online website. Okay, 2,000, or what's the price here? Okay, I'll fill this out right there, $3,000, and then there you go. So also you can actually redirect. So once actually someone fills out this contact form, you can redirect them to another page as well. So in this video, you're gonna learn all about the Divi theme contact form. It is one of Elegant Theme's probably best module. It is very powerful. It has a lot of amazing features in it. Also, for those of you who want to build this same exact website with the Divi theme, I do have a full tutorial on it in the description below. I just finished the Divi theme tutorial, so if you want to learn how to make this same exact website where I gave away freebies and all that really cool stuff, that tutorial is in the description below. Also, there is a new plugin that I've introduced, and you can go ahead and check it on this page where it adds all sorts of different, you know, slide-in animations and everything else. So be sure to check that out. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So if you want to learn how to use the Divi contact form, you want to learn how to use the conditional logic, and you want to learn how you can kind of maximize it, let's go and get started. So let's go. This is my demo page right here, right? This is the demo page I made, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a contact form. So right here, I'll put in contact form. So right here is my contact form. I'll click on contact form, and there you go. Now what we're first going to do is just basically introduce you to the features. After that, we'll talk more about conditional logic, and then we'll also talk about redirecting as well. So right here, you have your different options. You know, you have your name, your email, and your address, just like displayed right there. So you have your name, your email, and address or message. Now, if you ever want to change the size of this right here, you click on the gear icon, go to design, and go to layouts. Now, with the layout, you can actually make this full width. So now you can kind of see how it's full width. So depending on what you want to do, you can style it. Over here, you can change all sorts of other stuff as well. I will actually have a free contact form layout for you guys as well in this video. I'll be providing you all this one right here. You guys can download. It's a nice contact form. You know, it's very creative. It's very nice. You guys can go ahead and download it. I'll put that link in the description below as well. That's just like a freebie just for watching this. Let's go back over here. So we have our name, we have our email address, right? And right here, you can see that if someone fills it out, they'll have to, oops, sorry about that. They'll have to, let me see if I can put this right there. There we go. They'll have to display Captcha. So for instance, right here, we have the text, which is this field right here. The field options, which is this field right here. And then also we have the conditional logic as well, which we'll talk more about later, okay? So also, let's say, for instance, you have your title right here saying, okay, well, what kind of title do you want right there? So define a title for your contact form. So this is for like web design jobs, web design quotes, or web design quotes. And for a success message, so when they fill something out, what do you want to show them? Saying, hey, thank you, we'll contact you in 24 hours or something else. Submit button text. You can actually have the button say, email me. So right here, you can see that the email me has changed as well. Over here is probably the most important part. Please make sure that you put your email address right here. So right here, I'll put your email address. So when they say that the email, whenever someone fills this out, this is where that email is going to go, right? Makes sense, right? And also, message pattern. This is more functionality that you can have with like field IDs or messages or something like that. But I think I'm just gonna leave it blank for default. Elements, we talked about the Captcha. That's what that form is right there. And the redirect. So if someone fills this form out, so if they fill it out and they click on email me, if I click on yes, what page do you want them to go to? You can actually redirect them to another page. So maybe a thank you page. You can make your own custom thank you page. You can make additional services page. So for instance, right here, I'll say if they fill out this page, they're gonna go to darrelwilson.com once they're done filling out this form. So that is what the redirect option is right there. Link. I gotta be honest, I don't know why they even have this feature because if you click on it, it's going to link them to a different URL. I guess they added that in just because it might be helpful, but personally, I think that's not necessary. Background, you can go ahead and design the background here as well. Maybe you can add like a gradient color or something like that, but that's really ugly. We're gonna keep it basic this tutorial. That's really ugly. And then add a label, that's just for you and your purposes of what you want to call your contact form. All right, and also whenever you want to add in a field right here, just click on add a new field, and then right here we'll put something like the field ID right here is just for your information to kind of remind you on what was there or what the purpose of that is. And then for title right here, we'll put what's your website. So that is something that you can put. Now this right here, again, it's not required, and you can virtually put in whatever you want. The field options right here. So for instance, the field options, you have input, email, text area, checkbox, radio. So it's just a different way on how you can have your stuff selected. So let's say, for instance, you want to put a text area. Now this is like a message area. But maybe you want to go ahead and say, I want a checkbox. Like for instance, instead of saying like, what's your website, you can say, or do you have an SEO company? Maybe you want to, maybe you can offer SEO services as well. So you might want to ask them saying, do you have an SEO company? If you don't, we can provide you that service as well. So they also have radio buttons as well. And then they also have like a drop-down menu as well where they would click on it and then a drop-down would appear. So those are just different type of field options you can have depending on what you want for your contact form. But, and also you have the required field. So is this required? So must they fill this out, or do they have to fill this out in order to email you? So I'm going to say not really. Nah, because it's not that important to me. But that's just an idea or an example of that right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this right here. All right, so now we have name, we have email address, and message. Now let's just pretend that we're a web design agency and someone's here to actually fill out a form that says, I want a website, right? So we're gonna pretend that we're a web agency and people coming to us, they want a website, right? So what else do you want to ask them? Maybe you want to ask them their budgets. Now, in my personal opinion, I never ask that because it makes people feel uncomfortable when you ask them how much money do you have. It's like, imagine me saying, hey dude, like how much money you got? Like you come off as a junkie, right? Like, but some businesses do that, and that's fine because some people really might be on a budget. So right here, I'll click on add a new field and I'll do price. And then right here, I'll do something like, we'll do like a budget, because maybe they're part of a corporation, and corporations don't even care if they really don't care about their money because it's not their money. It's their boss's money, right? So we have a budget. Now right here we have field options. So let's actually select something right here. We'll go ahead and select. We can select a drop down. I think a drop down would be most appropriate. So let's say, for instance, their budget right here is between $0 and $2,000, okay? And their other option right here is $2,000 to $5,000. And then we got $5,000 to $10,000, right? And then the last one we'll put is plus $10,000. 10,000 plus. Okay. I don't want to make this required, so I'll take that off. So here we have a drop down. We can see the drop down menu, and you know, maybe I can actually change the design. I don't want it full width. You know, something a little bit smaller, right? Makes a little bit more sense. So we have the field options. Now let's actually leave it like that for now, and then just click on check. All right. So now we have the name, the address, email address, the message, and then the budget. Now let's add some conditional logic. Okay, so what could we add here that would make sense? You know, so maybe what kind of website do you want, right? So let's go ahead and put that in right there. So right here, I'll click on add a new field, and then I'll put type of website. And then remember, this right here is for us right here. It's just for you. Your customers will not see this. So right here, I'll put what kind of website do you need? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the field options, and maybe we'll put something like radio buttons. All right, and then right here I'll put personal website. Here I'll put a blog or business. We'll put e-commerce, and then right here I'll put a blog. Okay, and I don't want to make that required now. So now that I have this right here, I kind of want to add now some conditional logic. So if somebody fills this form out, I want this to display when someone fills out this message. So I'm going to go over all the conditional logic to make sure that you fully understand everything about conditional logic, because it's what makes this contact form really powerful. So right here, I'll click on enable. All right, now we got a few options, and this might look scary. I'm like, oh my God, we got a lot of options. This looks scary. It's really not that difficult to understand. So we enabled conditional logic. Now relation. Now the difference between all and any is basically saying if any of these are filled out, or you must have all of them met, which would be kind of difficult. So there's ways to use relation. You know, you can say basically relation is saying they must meet all of the rules that you make, and then all those rules must apply, and then the conditional logic will apply. But for now, I'm just going to say any of these right now will apply. All right. So right here we have different. We have name, email address, message, and then we have budget. Okay. So basically, these are saying if the budget right here equals $0 to $2,000, then this right here will appear. Okay. So let me say that again right now. So if somebody fills out the budget and they put $0 to $2,000, then this form right here will then display. Okay. So let's go ahead and just kind of test run it really quickly just to show you an example. Okay. So right here, I'm gonna click on check, and then we'll click on save. Okay. And I'll exit the visual builder. Now, as you can see, the price is gone because remember, it has conditional logic on it. So it must, remember we put the rule here. I'll just go ahead and do this right here. Hey, what's up? Now remember, for the budgets, we're gonna go ahead and put $0 to $2,000, and then it's gonna ask us what kind of website do you need. Now, if I put anything else, that option right there will not display. So if I put anything else, you can see it's not displaying because the rule is that if somebody fills out the $0 to $2,000, it's going to then ask us what kind of website do we need. Now, realistically, guys, I probably should have switched this around to what kind of website do you need first, and then add the conditional logic to that, right? But I'm just doing this just for tutorial purposes, okay? Just to give you an example, okay? So that's just the very tip of the iceberg basics of conditional logic, okay? Let's go ahead and get a little bit more advanced and by adding a little bit more features, because remember, we can add conditional logic on top of conditional logic. So basically we can kind of stack it together. So let's go back over here. What was that? What was that? I don't know what that was. Let's go ahead and enable the visual builder really quickly. Oh no, I put in the, it was the other page I put in. So I lost my page. It was, I think it was demo page, demo website. Was that the page we're working on? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's where it was. Oops. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So we have this form. Now I'm going to click on check. So we have this question, and you know, it's just basically asking us. No, I should probably switch that around. Actually, let's switch this around. So I'm going to drag this right here, and I probably want to change that conditional logic. So I'm going to go ahead and change that conditional logic really quick because, you know, it just doesn't make much sense. You know, why would you ask for the price and then ask for the kind of website later? You know, that doesn't make much sense right there. But okay, so I switched that around. I turned off the conditional logic. Now we're going to start all over again. So for the budget right here, for the price, now I want to kind of add something else in here. So for the price right here, I'm going to enable this. Now a good way to understand this, guys, is whatever is on the bottom will apply to the next one. So basically this one right here usually will never have conditional logic. Usually the ones lower will be the ones to be applied conditional logic for the one above it. So just think about the lower one. Depending on, you make the lower one, you add conditional logic to the lower one, and it'll apply to this answer right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at these other ones right here. So we have, what kind of website do you need? Now I'm gonna explain to you what all these options are. So what equals is, so equals means, just like we talked about, where if somebody fills out what kind of website, personal, then the budget form will display. Okay, we just did that. Now let's talk about does not equal. So does not equal means that if this right here is not filled out, if these other options are filled out, then this will display. So basically saying this one, we don't want personal. So if personal is selected, then this right here will not display. If the other ones are selected, it will display. Okay. Over here, we can go ahead and test that out really quickly, just to give you an example. Just to kind of give you a visual of it, because it's you know, it can be hard to describe that. So right here we have the personal. Now you see when I selected the personal, it does not display anymore. So that is what it means by does not equal. So it does not equal, but these other ones will display. It'll display by default. So that's just an example. You know, I don't know. You know, there's ways to use that. You know, there's probably ways out there. I just why does it keep doing that? It's so weird. I think I keep clicking on the menu, but I'm sure there's ways on how you can use that. So that's just an example. Going back over here to conditional logic. So we talked about equals. We talked about does not equal, is greater than. Now this is actually referring to what's it called? This is actually referring to a number. So when you say is greater than, that means that the number value must be greater. So depending on right here, you would need a text area. So it really wouldn't apply well to the checkboxes, because with the checkboxes, we don't have a number value. But remember earlier how we selected a number value for how many websites? So let's say, for instance, you want to select, like, you know, right here, you would need obviously a number value and say, if this is greater than 1, then display this. If this is less than 1, then display this. So that's what the greater and less than is. It's for a number value, okay? So that's basically what that means. We have contains as well. So what kind of website contains personal, then this will actually display right here. Does not contain. So what kind of website does not contain, and then personal, then it will not display. All right, so let's go ahead and just give you an example. So I'm gonna click on check. Alrighty. Okay, so I put contains personal. Remember, contains personal. So now it shows up. If I select the other ones, it does not display. So it's very similar to the other option that we had. But remember that depending on the type of text area or email that you have, it'll respond appropriately. Okay, so that's basically what that means by they saying the conditional logic with contains personal. Okay, so now we have does not contain personal, and then of course same thing, right? Now is empty and is not empty. So what kind of website? If this is empty right here, then this will display. If this is not empty, then it will display. All right, so let me just give you an example of, you know, maybe a good way to apply this would be the message. So we want them to fill out the message, right? So if they fill out the message, if they even type in the message, then this will display. So right here we have let me see right here. We'll do price again. We'll do price just to keep it basic. So we'll do the price, and we'll put what kind of website do you need is not empty. So that means that the budget will display when this is not empty. So let me just kind of give you an example. I'll just go ahead and save that. And exit Visual Builder. All right, so right here, what kind of website do you need? So right now it's empty, right? There's nothing selected. But if I select anything, it's considered not empty. So then the budget will appear. See that? Now the budget appears. So that's another way on how you can kind of use that feature. So that's basically what all of those features mean. I know when I first started using the contact form, it was a little discouraging because I didn't know what all those meant. But as you kind of learn and study them, you can kind of use them in different ways. So let's go back over here to price, conditional logic. Now, if I put is empty, so if I put that these are empty, at first it's going to display. And then if it's not empty, then it's not going to display. So that would be very counterintuitive and it wouldn't make any sense, right? It really wouldn't make any sense because now you see the budget. But what I'm saying is that if I select anything, the budget will disappear. And that it doesn't make any sense. So in this specific instance, you might not want to select that, but I'm just kind of teaching you on what that option does. So for this example, terrible example, I totally get it, but I just wanted to just kind of show you what the purpose of that is for. And there's a lot of reasons to use that. It's not a bad feature. I actually used it on on one of my clients, and they wanted to select something, and they said if they select, if they talk about wanting to spend more money, don't talk about the budget, hide the budget. I'm like, all right, I'll hide the budget, So that is what I did to use in that situation. So going back over here, we have our price, right? So we have conditional logic set up, all right? So that's basically what all these options mean right there. So now that we covered the options right there, let's kind of get a little bit more advanced and talk about how we can kind of apply this a little bit more differently. So I'm going to go ahead and make one more section right here. I'll go ahead and duplicate this. And what kind of website do we need? Right here we can kind of put maybe what kind of websites. We'll put go ahead and select a drop down. We'll put online store. Online store or a brick and mortar store. Brick and mortar. Okay, so right here we have what kind of website do you need? I want to change that layout. There we go. What kind of website do we need? All right, so now that you guys kind of see this, so we have a type of websites, and then right here, I'll put what kind of website. This is for us to help us understand the contact form because, by default, it's kind of hard for us to know, what the hell the contact form is for. So this right here gives us a better example. It's just cleaner for us to understand, basically. All right, so we have kind of websites, and so let's go ahead now and apply conditional logic, kind of website, to type of websites. All right, so right here, I'm gonna click on gear, conditional logic, turn this on. Now, right here we have rules. Now, I kind of want you guys to kind of understand how we did this. So what kind of website do we need? So basically saying, I want this to appear if an action is done right here. So what kind of website do you need? All right. Now, what can we put here that would make this display that we would want to display? So what kind of website do you need? And maybe, for instance, I want to say is not empty. So that means that if they select anything right here, then this will display right here. Okay, so if they check any box at all, then it's going to ask them this question. So I'm saying, okay, that makes sense. That that would be a good rule on what we can have right there. So is not empty. So they must fill something out in order for this box to show up. All right. Now let's go back over here, and we'll click on price. And we'll click on conditional logic, and we'll click on enabled. Now, what I can do here is say, now I want the budget to display if an action is taken on what kind of website do you need. So in order for that to happen, they would have to fill out the first one. So now they have to fill out this one, this would display, and then the budget would display last. So right here, I'll go ahead and select. Oh, they're both titled the same. Silly me. I probably should have changed that, you know. I'll just select this one right here because I believe that's one's right there. Now, maybe we can actually do something a little bit more differently here. So maybe saying if they filled out the e-commerce, or if they filled out the online store, then it'll display. If they filled out brick and mortar, then it would display as well. Now we can do it either way, or you can just say, is not empty. So basically saying that if an option was taken here, then budget will display. And you can apply different, scenarios. You can have equals online store, and then maybe ask them another question about the online store. And then maybe we can make another question and say, okay, brick and mortar, how long have you been in business? Or something like that, to kind of keep the questions going, or to kind of make the form dynamic based off your customers' needs. Because I know clients are crazy, man. I know they like a bunch of stuff. They want this, they want that. So this example would just basically say, I'll just put is not empty. All right. So basically saying that if they fill something out here, this option will display. If they select an option here, then the budget will display last to kind of, give them, because people hate talking about money, so we want to talk about money at the very end. That's just kind of how it works. So you can see that everything is gone right there. Everything is gone. So here I'll put Darrel Wilson, and I'll put my email address. And hey, I need a website now. All right. Now right here, we can select personal. And what kind of website do you need? And I'll say, okay, I want an online store. I want an online store. They're saying, okay, how much, what's your budget for that? And saying, okay, $2,000 to $5,000. And then they would just click on this and then email me, and voila. Well, yeah, my form is actually not working. You know what? It's actually, I know what went wrong. That was weird, but I know what went wrong. We have to put the HTTPS for the email address. So right here on my redirect, we got to put the HTTPS. So there we go. We got to put that. And then once that's displayed, then it'll actually take them to that URL. So let's go ahead and retry that really quickly. All right, exit Visual Builder. I'll put Darrel. Personal, online store. They select the budgets, and then right here I'll put 20. Is that right? 21? Yeah. Okay. Email me. And then there you go. Now it's going to redirect them to my website. So you can see the redirect feature works, and that's just an example of how you can use the contact form. So I think that's pretty much it for the contact form. I'm trying to think if I can give you guys extended practice here, just to kind of, pick your brain to make you really understand how you can use this form. Maybe over here we can add in one more form right here, and saying that if they select a certain budget, then we'll ask them, about their business. Let's just do that one last time. All right. So right here, I'll put message, or what kind of business, or what kind of business. So basically what I'm going to ask here is if they select a large amount of money, I'm going to ask them, okay, well, if you're going to spend $10,000, what kind of business do you have, right? That would make a lot of sense to ask somebody. So over here we have field options, and I want to put input field, meaning it's like a message area. And then conditional logic, we'll put yes. And right here, we'll put budgets. Now, if somebody puts $10,000, I want to ask them what kind of business do they have. So that's basically what this form can do right there. So when I put equals, they must say they must put in $10,000, and then this message right here will apply. So usually how the conditional logic works, it's usually whatever's under it. That's usually how it works. There's instances where it wouldn't work like that, but that's just an example. So here I'll put Darrel Wilson, and then right here I'll put, man, I love this tutorial. All right. And then right here, what kind of website do you need? I'll put personal. And then right here, we'll put online store. I probably should have changed that, guys. It's you get it. This is a tutorial. We're not the World Series of Poker. So here I'll put budget. Now remember, it's not going to display unless I put $10,000. So if I put $10,000, then we're going to ask them, okay, you want to spend $10,000. Okay, what kind of business do you have? And then there you go. And then they would fill that out, and then they would simply put it in and email me, and then there you go. When they fill this out, it'd go to my website because I added the redirect feature, okay? So I hope this tutorial was helpful. Hopefully by now you guys understand how to use the Divi theme contact form. It's very dynamic, and it's there's a lot you can do with this form. It's a very powerful form, and personally, I think it's probably one of the best forms out there. Also, if you want to learn how to make this same exact websites, I do have a free tutorial on it in the description below where we make the same exact websites. And I also give away a lot of freebies, a lot of free layouts as well. Also, if you're interested on using these models right here, I do have a video on this right here in the description below as well. These are actually 21 add-ons for the Divi theme that allows you to really just add a lot of more modules to the Divi theme, and it just adds a lot. It's a great plugin. It only costs like $15. And I even do have a coupon code for you as well. So be sure to check that out. Also, I'll be giving you this contact form right here. You can go ahead and download this. I'll put this as a free gift for you all. So it's a very nice contact form that was designed, and it was actually designed by a company called Best Divi Child about 1.5 years ago. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you all for free. It's a stylish contact form. It might help you with inspiration and ideas. So I'll go ahead and put a link to this freebie in the description below. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope this tutorial was helpful. My name is Darrel Wilson, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.